Please welcome John Cusack.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, guys?
So this is, every now and then you get a complete, huge surprise at these Comic-Cons. And this is probably the biggest one I've seen ever. Would you like to tell the folks what you got going? This is astounding.
Well, I wrote a graphic novel that's going to come out next year. And I brought some of these that I can make available if people want to buy them. They're sort of like
this is the first time this is shown to the public. Yeah. So these are just here now. So if we get a few shots, it's called Momo, and I'd like to ask you a little bit about it. Are there any spoilers that you could tell us about?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, everyone wants to get a shot of that. This is going to blow up on social media. You know that, right?
Good.
Good. Yeah, and they said this is gorgeous. So it's a combination. That's the leader in page. Wait till you see some of the artwork that was done. I'll have to ask you about the storyboards. Yeah, I know. Wait till you see the storyboards. That's coming up next. So it is classic graphic novel. Gotta ask you, when did you start working on this?
Well, I write a lot of screenplays, but the way movies are these days, they don't really like to make screenplays or films that aren't sort of algorithms or superhero movies, which isn't bad if you like those, but I sort of like different kinds of movies. So instead of writing a script and then seeing if I could get it made for 2 years, I figured I'd write a graphic novel, and then it'll be easier for people to see it as a movie, but then even if it doesn't get made as a movie, it'll just be a book.
When did you start writing it? 2 years ago?
I wrote the script about 2 years ago, and then I got this great artist named Ignacio No from Argentina to do the graphics. So he did all the graphics.
How did you find him, or did he find you?
We sort of found each other, yeah. We sort of found each other.
So I got to ask you a little bit about the. Can I ask you a little bit about the storyline on it, or would that be tipping a hand?
Sure. Well,
be as vague as you'd like.
Yeah, I'll be a little vague because I'm sure Mad Cave, who's publishing it, probably wants to do their own thing. But it's a story. It's like a '70s crime story where two people get thrown together and end up being involved in being drug mules. But they're doing it. It has to do. Then it also has to do with Jackie Gleason, Richard Nixon, and aliens.
The trifecta.
So I mean, don't you guys want to see that movie? I do.
And the title Momo comes from where?
Well, one of the characters in it is Anton Artaud, who is like a famous French surrealist who was super influential to lots of modern things, who I sort of love. So I put him in the middle of a screwball science fiction thing.
That is awesome. So I got to ask you, how did you go about working storyboard with the artist? Did you actually sit down with him? Was it done?
Well, he lives in Argentina, so it was a little bit. We did a lot of Zooms, but I had the script all written, and so then I just said, he would show me versions of the characters, and he's such a talented guy that I really wouldn't tell him what to do, but I would just say, remember, it's this type of a person who. An unformatted type of a person who might change her appearance every day for no reason, a complete, I would talk about the character, and then he would sort of adjust it from there.
So seeing his artwork, did that have you change any of your story? You stood strictly to what you had written?
No, my idea was I had the script that I liked, and I just said, I want to see this as a graphic novel. So I just want to, let's just do the script.
And when did you just get these proofs back?
Well, I've been getting these proofs for a while. Like a couple of them you can see.
And they'll be available at your table, right?
Yeah.
That is Comic-Con
I figured
dream.
I'd sign some and give some away. Some of them you can see they're just sort of sketched out. They're not color corrected, so it would come in different parts of it would be done, and I got the final version in just yesterday. So that's why I figured I would bring some and tell people about it. Yeah.
How many total pages is this?
I don't know. Let me think. The script was 135 pages. I'm sure it'll be somewhere around there.
And
But it'll be done like as a really nice, elegant book. Big.
have you read very many graphic novels or a fan of other graphic novels, or is it just something you said, this is going to work?
I just sort of wanted to tell, like I wanted to tell stories, and I'm obviously think in a cinematic way, and graphic novels are the closest thing you can do to that, I think. And but I wouldn't say I was like a huge graphic novel person, but I read I used to like all the classics that everybody likes, like The Watchmen and the original Frank Miller one, and just all those different ones.
Are you thinking of doing an actual tour with this when it comes out?
If people like it.
It looks awesome.
But, I mean, how do you not like?
How do you not like
How do you
that?
not like a story with the French surrealist, Jackie Gleason, Richard Nixon, Roswell, alien heads, time portals, drug mules set in 1970s, and a lot of Howard Johnson's restaurants? I mean, I don't know. That's what I like it. So
Yeah.
I always sort of just. My career, I just did stuff that I liked, and I thought, well, if I like it, I think other people will like it.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it's almost film ready, too. So it's actually almost like a blueprint for a film?
Yeah, and I even wrote it with certain actors in mind for certain roles.
No one you can mention?
There's one part that I think I sent the script to Nick Cage, and because I worked with him and we stayed friendly over the years, and I admire him, and like I just think he commits to things as well as anybody. So there was a really insane role that I thought
That could work.
that he might like.
Yeah.
And if he likes it, that'd be cool.
And you said you brought some other artwork with you as well? That'll be
Yeah,
at your table?
since I was bringing it, I just took some doodles and some,
Yeah, this
things that I
even
do.
these aren't doodles. These are really neat.
and then
So-
I drew some pictures of Bela Lugosi and took Polaroids of Bela Lugosi. So you can have that for 50 cents.
First person to the table. It's first person. So, any other Comic-Cons lined up that you're going to be showing this, or are we just getting?
I think once the movie comes out, yeah, I think that'll be something that I can take to the Comic-Cons.
That's really and
Yeah.
we appreciate so much seeing stuff like this, because this is the stuff Comic-Cons really rarely get is a big announcement, something
I
fresh.
didn't think of it that it was going to be a big announcement. I don't hope Mad Cave isn't mad at me, because they might have scheduled something else. But fuck it.
Yeah.
But they're so awesome. They're so great that
What do you
it's no problem.
What do you think quantity-wise the initial run you're looking at?
You mean how many prints?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how many they're going to do.
Okay.
But I think they'll do a nice amount, because the Ignacio's got a following, and some people have heard of me a little bit. So
Is there
I would think
a
there might be some
website that
interest.
some other people can see some of his work?
yeah, I'm sure there is. Although I don't have it on.
Okay,
on
you'll probably
hand,
have
but
it at your table.
Ignacio, no, Noe.
NOE.
Yeah, Ignacio, he's fantastic.
What
And
are the
then-
work
And then
of
I
his-
have like 2 other scripts that I want to make into graphic novels, and I want Ignacio to do the next one.
Nice.
So he's ready to start the next one.
So, are you going to be doing this as a continuing series, or is it going to be completely different stories?
No, totally different story.
Different story.
Although this one could have this could go on.
Any hints of what the future projects are that you're milling around?
One is called The Chemical Wedding. It's a sort of about a famous occult figure named people don't know quite for sure whether he really existed or not. It's kind of like the Count of Saint Germain. His name was Christian Rosenkreutz, and there's a lot of crazy mythology about him. So I read that story, and it was so surreal and sort of cinematic. I was like, there's some visual language that almost like in a dream where you're trying to figure out what does that mean. So
So, what kind of research did you do before you write, or it just comes to you and you do it?
Well, it started with, there's these, if you look online, like, I think some of the most searched things are like Nixon and Elvis, but then there's all this shit with like Jackie Gleason, Richard Nixon, and aliens. And there's this, I swear, you can look it up. There's flight logs where Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon took a helicopter to Roswell, apparently to look at aliens. And there was some guy on the manifest named Vernon Coffey. So I don't know who Vernon Coffey was, but I pretended like I did. And I don't know why all that stuff exists with Nixon, Alien, and Jackie Gleason, but I filled in as much story as I could figure out.
Do you have to put like a disclaimer in there, like these people, blah, 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 there's fictional work of fiction, blah, blah, blah?
No, it's a true story. That's my point of view. And what happened was I got slipped these top secret kind of files, and then the person who gave them to me was real paranoid, and then I was very worried that I could be breaching national security, and I didn't know what to do with them. And then finally I just said, Ignacio, you live in Argentina, just draw this and put it out. I don't think there's an extradition treaty with Argentina. So, yeah, it's a true story. It comes from top secret classified files.
Is there any language barrier between you and Ignacio? Is he,
There is, but I thought that was probably helpful. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you have to just communicate with somebody, and he can read the text, and he's so talented. So I thought it didn't seem to bother us. He had his son translating a lot. His English is pretty good, but his son's is better. So we'd be on Zoom, and his son would translate.
does he have any current work in English in the U.S., or you don't know?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, do you believe so?
Yeah.
Nice. How long did it take him does he send you like a page at a time? How fast does he work?
I've never done it before, so I don't know how fast or slow it is, but it was a process. It took, it's been over last year.
So when you first got all of this back and you put it all together, I mean, that had to be an amazing, that's almost like an incredible set. Was that like finishing a film or something like that?
Well, it's sort of just getting finished now. Like it's just getting finished now, and then I guess it has to go to print and do all the book stuff. So.
And let me just double check this. These are going to be available at the booth you're at.
Yeah, I figured, yeah, why not?
Wow. Well, you got to get back to your booth because there's probably a line already. No. If you don't mind, I'd like to. Everybody knows your film career. Everybody knows almost everything about you. But this is something that I just think is fascinating. Does anybody have any questions about his graphic novel? They're pretty much going to be surprised when they get it all. But what's that?
Sort of. No, but what was the hot tub in that movie? What was it? Right. There are portals. There are time portals.
So, how much time do you spend writing? How much time do you spend writing? I just got to ask.
I'd say mostly I'm doing that quite a bit. So.
Do you find it more rewarding than acting, or is it different?
It's just fun to be able to do something quickly and without having to convince people to put money in a bank, and you have to take meetings. It's just you can just do it yourself.
So, do you have anybody like proofread or edit or show it to friends to see what they think, or any people in the industry that you've shown it to?
Yeah. I've showed it to people, the script, and then some of the artwork. Yeah.
Has Nicolas Cage seen it, or you just talk?
I don't think he hasn't seen the graphic novel, but I think he has the script.
Nice.
So we'll see if he likes it.
If I could ask a couple
Sure.
film questions before you head out to your table, I got to ask you about, of course, Love and Mercy with Brian Wilson. How challenging was it? I mean, I think it's the only biopic you've ever done. Am I correct? With somebody that actually was still living, because you did 8 Men Out.
Yeah, I did one where I played a serial killer who was still alive when we shot it, but I don't really consider that biopic.
No. How challenging was it working on Love and Mercy? Could you get the mic a little closer for us, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
No, that was just an honor, because he was, Brian, who passed away, rest in peace, was, people throw the word genius around a lot, but he's actually a real genius and great person, and his wife is a great person. And so it was really nice to try to tell their story and have them be happy with it, or it felt like it was an honest account.
How did that project come about? Was it something you were looking at, or they headhunted you for it?
No, it was something I heard about, and the producer and director of it, and I knew who the writer was. I read the script and I thought it was really good, and I thought I could contribute something to it.
It was amazing. Did you actually sit down and get feedback from Brian or his wife?
Yeah, because if you know the movie, there was two actors played the same
Correct.
person. Paul Dano played him when he was younger, and that was when he was super public. Everything he did in his life was public. He was like, they were kind of like the Beatles.
Yeah.
They on TV all the time, on tour all the time, just doing everything. And then he sort of retreated from public life and went through a much darker period, and that there wasn't much known of him then. So I got to talk with Brian and Melinda about what that time was like.
Did you get to ask Brian anything about any of the background on Pet Sounds, just out of curiosity?
Oh yeah, I asked all that stuff, yeah, all that stuff.
So is it true that it's called Pet Sounds because I think what Mike Love said, only dogs could hear some of the frequencies, or why it was called Pet Sounds?
I think it might have been the frequency thing, the vibration, the frequency thing, I think that lore is true.
One more question about, do you have a favorite Beach Boys song that kind of is a go-to?
Heroes and Villains, anything off the Smile Sessions box set, or, Pet Sounds, or there's so many great songs.
We got just a few minutes. Would you mind taking a couple? There'll probably be about film. Would you mind just taking a couple?
Sure.
Yeah, let's take a handful of questions. Once again, I can't thank you enough for bringing a surprise like that to us.
Thanks, yeah, and you can ask questions about anything.
Yeah, I mean, come on. But before we go further, you have a photo op next, and you'll be back. You want people at your booth around what time?
1:30, 1:45?
About 1:40, 1:45, you can head to his booth, and I would probably consider getting to be first in line. If I didn't have a Q&A, I'd be there too. But needless to say, first question.
So this is actually about the Raven. I read that you got to actually read Poe's private correspondence. Did you actually get to do that, and what did you learn about him? Did that affect your acting in that role?
I think, weirdly, I mean, it's weird to compare him, but it's sort of like with Brian Wilson, you can know everything about him by just listening to his music. And I think with Poe, it's the same sort of thing. You just sort of immerse yourself in his writing, and I did get to read some of his letters and correspondences, and so yeah, that was super helpful.
Okay, let's get about 3 more questions. All right, we could use a 2-part question right about now.
All right, hello, John. Wonderful to have you with us today. All right, I just wanted to say, great job on both Anastasia, Say Anything, and 2012, but also for Grosse Point Blank.
Thank you.
Okay, so my 2-part question is, what was your favorite part about working with Disney animators Don Bluth and Gary Goldman on the film Anastasia as Dimitri? And my second question is, what do you enjoy most about doing live action and animation?
I think the fun part about doing those things is, they draw something and they do something, and you come in and you'll do a session, and you get to work with all the actors. So I got to work with Meg and, Kelsey Grammer and all those people. And so you're all in the studio having fun, and you do a bunch of stuff, and then 3 or 4 months later you come back and people have slaved and done all this work, and you come in and have some fun again and do the lines, and then they do all this work. So it's sort of if you haven't been through the process, it's so time extensive for the animators. They have to do so much work, and it's so sort of, I feel like we get off for free. We just have to come in and find the voices of the characters. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to just watch it sort of keep coming to life in front of you.
Okay, let's
And
grab-
then I can't remember the second part. The
Second part was,
funnest part of being animation, I think, is just to be with the actors in the studio and the director, and then try to find the characters. You know.
and live action.
Now, what does live action mean? Like a movie? But isn't live action just like a movie? Oh, okay. Yeah, my favorite part about working on a movie. Okay. I thought you meant like claymation, or I wasn't quite sure what you mean. I like the time between action and cut a lot. The rest of it is not as interesting, but I do like between action and cut.
Grab two more
I have
questions.
a very important question. Did the paperboy ever get his $2?
I didn't know which paperboy you were talking about, but I'm glad that you saw that one. No, I think he hasn't gotten it yet. I don't think he'll ever get it.
All right, let's grab one question and then call it a day.
Hi. I have a question for you. Are you going to play any other kind of true crime type character like Robert Hansen?
I did write something that I'm trying to get financed. I adapted a Caleb Carr book called Surrender New York, and he made The Alienist, if you know that book. So he's a great writer. Unfortunately, he passed away too. But so I have that written as a 4-part thing that I'm trying to get people to buy. So we'll see if they do. But again, I'm not sure what today's movies and TV are anymore.
Well, I have one final question before
Sure.
you go. And I'd like to ask you about working with Stephen Frears on The Grifters. I don't know if you're familiar with John Thompson's hardball.
Jim Thompson.
Yeah, Jim Thompson.
Of course.
His work before that.
Yeah, the Stanley Kubrick movie, The Killing. He did a screenplay for that. Killer Inside Me. Yeah.
So actually doing that film, what about that script really drew you into it?
I think it's a classic, the psychology of the con and the grift is very interesting. Even in a movie like The Sting, they sort of get into it, right. But David Mamet gets into it, and it's also like it's an interesting thing because like the con men, it's almost like the way nature is, like the strong are going to prey on the weak, and it's always the people that are greedy that are the easiest marks. So it's never anybody who comes in. They're not really innocent, the people. They're trying to get something for nothing, and they're trying to get hustle, and then the con man just brings them in. But in Thompson's, it became more like deep patterns of sort of betrayal between people, and how it becomes almost an Oedipus thing.
Well,
so he turned it into like almost like Greek tragedy.
If you haven't seen the film, please do. It's called The Grifters.
It's dark, but it's cool.
It's dark, but it is a great piece of cinema.
Yeah.
And needless to say, thanks for bringing your artwork in your graphic novel.
you.
Headed back to his table. Give it up.
Thank
the
you,
one and
guys.
only John Cusack. Look at that. It's for you. That's for you.